So I slow the person, but it just doesn't matter at all.
Bye.